Hi everyone, this is Linda from Linda's Stitchens, and somebody had asked specifically about what all those symbols were that are in the front of the sampler books that come with the Wi-Fi embroidery machines from Husqvarna Viking. So I'm going to kind of cover that, and so we're going to talk about the different symbols that are in the front of that sampler book, and this is only for the Applique, Applique 2, Brilliance 80, Sapphire 85, and 90, and it might apply also for the FOF machines, but I don't have a FOF machine, so I can't tell you what that specific sampler book looks like. And remember that these machines have built-in tutorials on how to do those different techniques. So once you know the technique, follow those built-in tutorials to help you do each different one. So there's specific tutorials on how to do fringe designs, how to do applique. So follow those tutorials. So once you know what the symbols mean, you should be able to use those tutorials to help.
The very first one is for eyelet. What that means is when you go to sew, it's going to create a little circle, and then it's going to stop, and then you're going to take and you can cut that little spot out, and then it will do a little satin stitch around the hole. This one tells you need a wing needle. This one is for pop-up embroidery, and pop-up embroidery is three-dimensional. This one is heavyweight stabilized or heavyweight soluble water-soluble stabilizer for freestanding lace, and it kind of tells you that, but I'm going to show you some of the samples in the book. So cut work with scissors, that's when you actually go and sew something out. It's going to sew a little stitch, and then you're going to stop, you're going to cut the fabric away, and then you're going to sew again, and it's going to put a little satin stitch around. This is cut work needle embroidery. This is for appliques, and you could see a combination of appliques with cut work, with water soluble, with pop-up. So you're going to see a couple of different things. Chenille is the one that we're doing this month is our challenge, which is fringe. This is for endless embroideries, lace insertion. It's hard for me to say, but what that does is it does the lace, and then you actually cut the fabric away so that you end up with lace going down the center, and then nothing, and lace is here and fabric is here, and then thread velvet. So to find some of the things, I just kind of went through and marked them in my book. And so, for example, a thread velvet design can be found here on this page right here, where what that tells you is, see, it says it's thread velvet, and what that says is when you finish sewing this all out, what you're going to do is you're going to actually slice away the top of the threads, and then that creates the thread velvet. Another one is the pop-up embroideries, and the pop-up embroideries, for example, on this one is kind of a combination of things. It's an applique, and then you're going to sew this part out. You're going to sew one part out, and then you're going to sew a third part out. So what you're going to do is you sew part of this on fabric, you can cut it away, it's got a little bit of an applique to it, and then you're going to attach it to whatever you're going to attach it to, and then sew this part of it out in order to attach it. But see, if you look, it's kind of got a combination of things. So it's kind of just a learning experience. There are other couple pop-up ones. That was the first one I came across. Then there's things like here, which is an applique where you're laying ribbons using a texture hoop. Then you're going to see some other things. This one's cut work, so using this is using the cut work needles. Then you'd notice that color changes actually imply that you change to the cut work needles. To do that, if you're not, you're going to use the scissors, so you have to kind of be aware of how it is set up. Then you have things like wing needle, and it's going to create an effect like this, which are kind of fun. I hope you can see this. I know my light is kind of bad. This again is an applique. If you look here, it's an applique. Let's go here. This is using your scissors. These are not set up for doing with your cut work needles. If you notice, there's a pair of scissors. At this thread change, you're going to use your scissors and move on, and then do the next stitch. Chenille, which is the one that we're talking about, is the fringe. These are some of the designs. There are more in here in your sampler book, but that's what we're going to cover, what we're going to do this month. Then this is applique. So you lay the fabric down, you sew a stitch, you lay fabric down, then you cut away, then you do the satin stitch. So that's kind of what that kind of stands for. If you notice, there's water soluble here. You just have to learn what the different symbols stand for. Again, water water-soluble stabilizer with using the endless hoop. This is just using water-soluble stabilizer, and you're not going to use any other fabrics. Then there's also some endless hoop designs up here, and when you do an endless hoop, what it does is it does these little markings to help you line up your designs. There's all kinds of different things in here. The